Today on Carolina Week.
I may not have a job in 2 months. It's scary.
AI came to Chapel Hill. How AI could impact your life in the job market.
And
I'm gonna need my benefits, like get food and stuff to cook for my kids and my sibling.
SNAP benefits could lose funding on Friday, what that will mean for families trying to put food on their plates.
And rain has finally made its way to Chapel Hill. How it could affect events you want to go to this week. And when can you put away those umbrellas? Coming up.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Mackenzie Acton.
And I'm Aaliyah Mitchell.
Last night, Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica. The hurricane is not bringing the rain we've seen here in Chapel Hill. Our meteorologist Megan Giller is right outside with an update.
Check out these gray skies behind me. You'll notice people are walking back there with some raincoats and some jackets on. It's still chilly out here. You can start to see some drizzle coming down. It's probably going to make my hair a little frizzy as we go. You can also see we've got some moist dirt out here. Just more proof that that rain is just on and off throughout the day. That's going to continue as we move into Thursday. And speaking of rain, Hurricane Melissa has moved out of Jamaica as of to this morning. It's headed towards Cuba and the Bahamas, but I'll have more on Melissa's trajectory coming up.
Thanks, Megan. We've already seen some terrible images from Jamaica. Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in Cuba early Wednesday as an extremely dangerous Category 3 hurricane. Melissa is being called the storm of the century after slamming into Jamaica with devastating effect Tuesday as one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes in history. Melissa made landfall on the island nation as a Category 5 storm with 185-mile-per-hour winds. The massive scale of the destruction quickly became clear, with extensive damage reported across southwestern Jamaica. Schools, homes, and hospitals all affected by the hurricane. Officials said hundreds of thousands of people on the island were left without power. After tearing across Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa barreled over the Caribbean towards Cuba. More than 735,000 people have been evacuated in Cuba, where residents and officials spent days preparing for the hurricane's impact.
We are now on day 29 of the government shutdown, and lawmakers still have not reached a deal on the spending plan, which impacts over 700,000 federal workers across the country. When the government shuts down, many federal employees temporarily stop working and don't receive pay. Essential workers like TSA agents and postal employees still report to work but won't be paid until funding is restored.
The federal government shutdown effects could also be felt by members of the military. This week in the Atlanta area, military commanders started preparing troops to find other ways to support their families. That's because service members may not get paid this week. On top of that, those who rely on food stamps could soon lose that support.
This does not seem real.
Purple Heart recipient and retired Army Sergeant Gary Herber says his friends at Dobbins Air Reserve Base started their week with a list of where to find free food.
It made me feel sick to my stomach.
Because of the shutdown, service members' November 1st paycheck could be late. That same day, the U.S. Department of Agriculture could cut their food assistance program benefits.
During normal government operations, 1 in every 4 military families reports being food insecure. And so as you can imagine, that's being dramatically exacerbated in this moment.
Kara Pappas works for Military Family Advisory Network, a nonprofit that is sending military families emergency grocery assistance.
It's a box of shelf-stable pantry items that we can easily ship directly to military families. This preserves dignity as well because it arrives right at the family's doorstep.
Nearly 3,000 Georgia military families have applied for a box, but the organization can only afford to send 234 until more donations arrived. So I checked.
This is all produce that came in.
With the Lawrenceville Food Bank, known for its big box giveaways of fresh food, Love Outreach Mission.
It is getting worse.
Lynette Jackson says her team served a record-breaking 900 families last Saturday, but ran out of food.
We're starting to fill up our freezers, but it'll all be gone.
She says if the government does not fund military or SNAP benefits, she will need donations.
But I'm going to run out.
I need help.
And that's heartbreaking.
Herbert fears missions will fail if military must focus on finding food.
They're the last person in this country that should ever have to ask for a handout from the community to feed their own family is the men and women that wear the cloth of our nation.
And those Americans worried about SNAP benefits are scrambling to make up for the loss in benefits. Food pantries across the country are seeing an influx of people needing food. In New York, anxiety is growing.
Sanai Meitz's head swirls with uncertainty as she waits for her number to be called at St. John's Bread and Life Food Pantry in Bedford-Stuyvesant. She and her kids are hungry. She's been on disability since she was hit by a stray bullet last year while she was pregnant with her son. The roughly $1,000 a month she gets from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, goes toward buying all of their food, diapers, and essentials. And soon, it will be gone.
My mind is just going. It's like I'm going crazy right now. I feel like I'm struggling.
Government assistance programs announced Monday that SNAP recipients will be doing without for at least the month of November. The current government shutdown is forcing federal aid to a halt. And desperation is setting in for Sanai and 3 million others across New York State.
The shelter I'm in is like a cooking facility. So I'm gonna need my benefits, like get food and stuff to cook for my kids and my siblings.
At Bread and Life, it's business as usual. For now, 85% of their clientele receive some type of government assistance. The pantry has already seen an 11% uptick in visits this month, and now it's bracing for a tidal wave of need.
This is a crisis that we're in, and I think we're not seeing the end of it yet.
This year, Bread and Life has been dealing with its own deficit, nearly $1 million less in government funding. It sustains 28 other pantries that are bound to see the 1 in 5 New York City residents who lean on SNAP when they become a sole source of food.
Hunger is not waiting for Washington. People need to eat, children need to eat, and the people making the decisions have never been on a food pantry line.
For Sanai and hundreds of thousands of other clients on SNAP, Bread and Life isn't a pantry.
This isn't about politics. It's about the gospel.
It's a promise kept.
I already go through anxiety and stuff like that, so it's just making it even more worse.
Open up the government so that those that don't have a voice will at least have food on the table and a place to live.
Governor Josh Stein said he is urging the USDA to take immediate action to prevent more than 1.4 million North Carolinians, including children, people with disabilities, veterans, and working families, from going hungry.
Nearly a month after announcing a new school on campus, university officials say there are still a lot of details to work out. We know that the plan is to merge the School of Data Science and Technology with the School of Information and Library Technology. The dean of the new school, which does not have an official name yet, is expected to be Stan Ahalt. Ahalt told us students will be able to learn how to best utilize AI and have discussions about the best practices and ethics behind the technology in the new school. Ahalt added that he wants to hear concerns and questions from students, faculty, and the community.
Joining together on, I think, tasks that are of the moment and critically important and exactly what we should be talking about here in the Academy.
Higher education has an obligation to fully contribute to the unfolding of these intelligent machines in society in a responsible way that's very pro-public and very altruistic, not just profit-driven.
For the new School of Information and Library Science, Jeffrey Bardzell is taking the role of Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer and Vice Provost for AI in the new school.
Graduating seniors are preparing to enter a job market alongside artificial intelligence. At UNC's first ever AI convention, Converge Con, students heard from a recent graduate navigating those changes firsthand.
I don't have it all figured out. I may not have a job in 2 months. It's scary. I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm willing to figure it out with you if you'll try.
Christina Mangelsdorf graduated from UNC last year and now works a temporary position at the university. She says AI has become an unavoidable part of her job search and that she's had to learn to see it as a partner instead of an opponent.
I need food right now. I need to live. Like, I just spent money on college.
I got a degree, and now I can't work for even $38,000 a year.
Mangelsdorf says she's worries that automated screening may keep her from showing the qualities that make her stand out, like her personality and how she connects with people. She's learning that even in an AI-driven job market, being human and showing who she is remains her biggest advantage.
And could robot juries be the future of our legal system? That was the question being asked at a mock trial at ConvergeCon. A team of UNC law students served as the acting defense team, defendant, prosecution, and plaintiff, with a UNC law professor as the judge. In an experimental attempt to erase bias and preconceived stereotypes, the jury was composed entirely of AI bots, ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok. The case, based on a previous real-life trial, considered the case of a white teenager suing a black teenager for intimidation during a robbery. Organizers wanted to test if AI would take into account racial biases when making verdicts.
You need that human experience to judge a human. It's so hard because it's the classic, well, it depends on what the crime was and who the defendant is and what you are and everything you've gone through. But I want to trust in humans that they are at least able to catch themselves and recognize their bias.
You can't, really assess the body language of robots, and that's a lot of what defense counsel relies on in some cases.
Students hope that this won't be the future of due process, since the use of an AI jury removes so much humanity from the decision-making process.
Conversations about AI are increasing, but so are the conversations about the future of the UPendo Lounge and Black student spaces on campus. In a student-led town hall this week, students, faculty, alumni, and others voiced concerns about the future of Black student gatherings. Many in this group once called UPendo Lounge their home, but the university says it's opened the lounge to all students following new federal guidance issued in July and the UNC system's equality policy. BSM leaders say this change limits access for Black students now that there is no priority booking.
Things that may have happened during my 4 years will not be known as well 4, 5, 6 years down the line. So it's really making sure that we're confronting and we're educating about the university.
BSM leaders say they will continue to advocate for the preservation of Black history on campus, and they have a meeting planned with university officials to discuss what's next for the UPendo Lounge.
We've got a few campus updates for you this morning. The application to live on campus has typically opened in their fall. However, last week, Carolina Housing said it is moving the application to spring to give students and families more time to consider their housing options. Carolina Housing is hosting a Dungeons & Dragons style orientation to walk students through the entire process of moving off campus. There will be lots of practical guidance on all the things that change when you move off campus, like budgeting, signing a lease, and finding roommates. The next orientation is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in the Airing House Lounge. Coming up on Carolina Week, breast cancer survivor Karen Sutton joins us live to discuss her story.
And UNC's pharmacy school is going abroad. Where they are going could change your degree. Welcome back to Carolina Week. I can say it's not Christmas, but the weather outside is frightful.
I agree with you, Aaliyah. It is not a beautiful day outside, but I'm excited for Halloween this weekend, and hopefully the weather won't be too bad.
I hope so. And Halloween, like you said, is this Friday, and Franklin Street is getting ready for the crowds of costumes. But police say their top priority isn't the party, it's public safety. There's no telling how big the crowd will be, but police expect thousands of college students throughout the night. Chapel Hill Assistant Chief of Police says alcohol and drug use and pedestrian safety are among their biggest concerns. He urges students to be alert, stay in groups, and call 911 or campus safety if needed.
Restaurants on Franklin are also concerned about safety. At Sup Dogs, Halloween weekend is almost as busy as home football games. Even with the chaos, Sup Dogs calls it welcome stress. Managers say Halloween brings a major financial boost to Franklin Street, but their biggest hope is that students and visitors celebrate responsibly. While everyone is excited for Halloween, the weather outside is not looking Halloween ready. Meteorologist Megan Giller is here to tell you whether or not you need a raincoat with your costume.
Thanks, Mackenzie. We're going to be seeing some brighter skies as we head towards Halloween, but right now I want to take a moment and look at Hurricane Melissa. You'll notice that the hurricane is headed away from the United States. It shouldn't mess with us out here in North Carolina, but it has moved over Jamaica last night, and into this morning you'll notice it's passing over Cuba and the Bahamas. Later this week it might hit Bermuda as it's moving out into the Atlantic. But as we look back here in Chapel Hill, you'll notice that temperatures are within the 50s today, 53 at your noontime hour, only moving into the upper and mid 50s by 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. As we move forward in the day, you'll see that rain sticking around right up here in the Raleigh-Durham area. And as we move into Thursday, you'll see it as we start the day, but then it'll start to scoot out by Thursday afternoon. You can also see Hurricane Melissa start to move up and out towards the Atlantic as well. On your Halloween weekend radar, check this out. There's a high pressure system up here. No rain at all. Temperatures are still going to be chilly out there, so you'll want to bring a jacket with your costume. But the rain is mostly on Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures will move into the lower 60s as we move into the weekend.
Thanks, Megan. I am joined here today with Miss Karen Sutton, who is a breast cancer survivor. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I want to start by asking what the moment was like when you first received your breast cancer diagnosis.
Yeah. So when I first received the diagnosis, I was devastated. My world stopped. I remember pulling over on the side of the road and sitting there for like about an hour or so. And then I had a chance to get home and talk with my family. I didn't have a village at the time, but I knew that I was, forming a village. And I had a chance to talk with them and get over the tears, fought tears. And that's when I decided that this was a moment where I needed to really pray hard. And so after doing so, I've decided that I needed to go through, seek and intervene in my faith, and put my fear on the back burner. So that's kind of how.
Yeah. I can only imagine how just scary and vulnerable that must feel.
It was.
But I'm so glad you found a support system.
Yes.
And speaking of that support system, you founded the Pink Faith Foundation to help support other women and people struggling with breast cancer. How did that foundation help you with your own personal journey?
So forming Pink Faith Foundation, it really helped me heal. It gave me the chance to be able to feel like my pain that I went through, I turned it into a purpose. And that purpose has allowed me to be able to reach out and support women that have gone through and that are going through, and show them that you don't have to go through the process alone. Being able to have a village, seek a village, I'm there to support. I do a lot of hands-on within the foundation, and so we formed that. And then it also gives me the opportunity to know that every time I see someone smile, or every time I see someone and I know that they've gone through and they need and can get support, it gives me a reason in knowing and reminding me of why I survived.
Wow, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
What hopes do you carry for the future for yourself and for the fight against breast cancer?
So the hopes that I carry for the future is that there are women that know and understand that they do not have to fight the journey alone, and that there will be able to seek financial help, emotional help, spiritual help, all of those things in order to help them get through the journey.
Help is always available, and I would like to thank you so much for you joining us here today. If you would like to learn more about the Pink Faith Foundation, you can visit their website, pinkfaithfoundation.com. Thank you again for being here, and we'll go back to Aaliyah.
Thank you, Mackenzie and Karen. Yes, making sure you get checked and lean into your community. Now, UNC's Eshelman School of Pharmacy is going global with a new master's program. The Master of Global Medicine's development connects UNC with Monash University in Melbourne, Australia, and begins in March 2026. Designed to address global medicine shortages and supply chain challenges, the program gives student hands-on experience with international regulations and industry practices, according to Associate Dean Dr. Stephen Eckel.
Give you the breadth of all the different sort of major regulatory bodies that drive drug development, drug sales, drug utilization from that perspective.
The degree is part of the Pharm Alliance, uniting 3 of the world's top 10 pharmacy schools, UNC, Monash University, and University College London. The 18-month program starts with a year in Melbourne, followed by internships in North Carolina or international sites across Europe, Asia, and Australia. Associate Director of Global Engagement, Carol Sasser, says graduates will gain valuable experience in global regulatory practices, preparing them for leadership roles in pharmaceutical companies and international healthcare organizations.
Good schools, their resources, their expertise, the research that's going on, you just can't replace that interaction.
Applications are live and available through UNC's Eshelman School of Pharmacy website.
Tomorrow, the women's basketball team is taking on the Big Peach. Reporter Kristen Dickerson went behind the scenes to take a deeper look into how the teams in the State Farm Arena are preparing for it.
Atlanta, Georgia is the home of vast musical culture, African American history, and is a huge sports capital in America, being where the Olympics have been hosted, the Super Bowl, the SEC Championship annually, and where the UNC women's and men's basketball teams will be playing exhibition games this season.
I'm here at State Farm Arena, where on Thursday, the UNC women's basketball team will be competing, and in December, on December 20th, the UNC men's basketball team will be competing.
I had the opportunity to explore the ins and outs of setting up for games with Fred Ravenel, who is the Senior Vice President of Guest Experience Operations at State Farm Arena.
So for people who might not know, guest experience for us, keep it simple, is all of these seats in the arena, we welcome everyone in and we deliver them the level of service they expect.
These exhibition games are mutually beneficial for both the arena and the schools that play there.
When you talk about the collaboration, right, of and building relationships with these different schools, that's one of the benefits.
Atlanta has a lot to offer, but it also has a lot of traffic. Tip-off for the women's game starts at 6 p.m. And a word of advice from someone born and raised in Atlanta: for your own sanity, stay off the highways between the hours of 4 and 5. I'm Kristen Dickerson, reporting.
Well, I'm looking forward to cheering on the UNC women's basketball team tomorrow. Marilee, what about you?
I agree with you, and the men are also looking great as well. Seth Trimble is an award contender, and the men play tonight in the Dean Dome.
Exciting.
Exciting, and I can't wait to hear more about that. We'll have more for basketball after the break. Welcome back to Carolina Week.
In studio, we have Marilee Tu from Sports Extra to talk about all the things Carolina athletics.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Straight into it, Bill Belichick's first season at North Carolina is wobbling. After an overtime loss to Virginia, UNC dropped to 2-6, and the departures keep piling up. 7 players have left, including Price Yates, William Boone, and Yasir Smith, some for injuries, others amid frustration with the new regime. The offense ranks near the ACC basement, and Belichick's NFL-style approach faces scrutiny. The task now is to stabilize the locker room, halt the exits, and find answers fast. Belichick spoke with the media yesterday, and he made a point to defend Michael Lombardi, who was recently criticized on a football podcast. And football looks for redemption at Syracuse at 7:30 this Friday. On a lighter note, there's only 5 days till college tip-off across the country, but before then, the men's basketball team is back on the Smith Center hardcourt tonight. Coming off a tight 78-76 road loss to number 8 BYU, the Tar Heels are hosting Winston-Salem State in another preseason bout. In Salt Lake City against the Cougars on Friday, freshman standout Caleb Wilson poured in 22 points and collected 10 boards, while senior Seth Trimble added 17 points. But 19 turnovers and a lack of physicality in the paint plagued the Tar Heels. On the Rams side, they finished their last season 5-22 in the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association and have yet to play a game this year. And speaking of basketball, we now know the 20 preseason candidates for the Jerry West Award. UNC standout senior guard Seth Trimble is in contention to be named the best shooting guard in the country. Trimble averaged 11.7 points, 5 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in the 24-25 season, ranking 3rd on the team in points per game. He looked to step into a leadership role for the Tar Heels this season as one of only 3 returning players. And on the women's side, they're ranked 11th and face number 2 South Carolina in an exhibition game. The Tar Heels enter the matchup with the highest preseason ranking since 2009. Standout guard Renaya Kelly leads the returners and transfers Nyla Harris and Alina Arnisolo alongside recruits Nyla Brooks and Talia Henderson add depth to the roster. The Gamecocks come in hungry after falling just short of a national title in April, and they've won the past 4 games against UNC. South Carolina also adds Florida State transfer Tanaya Latson, who averaged more than 20 points per game last season. Tune in to Sports Extra every Friday morning at 11:30, and when we return, Halloween is this weekend. How UNC students are easing your costume concerns.
Put it down before the time runs out.
And that is all we have for Carolina Week.
We hope you have a happy Halloween, and we will see you next Wednesday.